what's up, guys? It's Dan from Crypto Camacho, and I could not be more excited to welcome these folks to the show. Welcome, guys. Welcome, Shantu, Mohit, and Santosh. I have executives from Huobi MENA, and I have the CMO from AI Trader. I'm super excited to talk to you guys. I know, Santosh, you and I have talked a bit in the past. I've talked a little bit about AI Trader on my show in general, but happy to get you guys on the phone or on this video to really talk about your new partnership that you've announced recently. So first, I want to introduce you guys, or want to give you a chance to introduce yourselves, and then we can get into the meat of what Huobi is, what AI Trader is, what you guys are doing together, how some of the viewers can take advantage of not only the exchange platform but the AI Trader technology to really help them profitably trade better, right? So let's just jump into it first. You want to first give a quick introduction of yourselves, maybe starting with you, Santosh, at AI Trader?
Sure, Dan. It's been a long time. It's been about like 2 months since we last spoke. It's good to see you once again.
Yeah, good to see you.
So, Santosh, I head marketing for AI Trader. I look after everything on the product front as well. So, in terms of new innovations, new sort of features and upgrades that consumers want. So, I'm sort of the voice between what people want and the tech teams. So, I try and create the bridges there. And also, talk to you guys, hopefully like build some new partnerships with some friends over here. That's a little bit about me, what I do.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Now, Shantu, you want to start with you?
Sure. Hi, guys. My name is Shantanu Saxena. I work with Huobi as Executive Vice President. My job with Huobi is to grow the business for Huobi MENA in the region which it precisely includes Africa, Middle East, and South Asia.
Nice, thank you. And then now, what do you do?
Great, well, thank you, Dan, first of all, for hosting this. So this is Mohit Zavar. I'm one of the co-founders for Huobi MENA. My job is just to make sure that Shantanu does his job. So
love it.
We're super excited, and I know we're going to get into it, but Huobi MENA is Huobi is 5 years old. We'll talk about Huobi MENA is literally 45 days old. And it's great that in the first 45 days, we've already partnered with AI Trader. So that's super exciting.
Yeah, no, that's exciting. And I know there was a lot of interest in my community about AI Trader. A lot of people asking questions, a lot of people interested in artificial intelligence, machine learning, and how it relates to actual trading, whether that's day trading, swing trading, whatever. And I think the exciting thing, at least for me and for some of my viewers, is the ability to potentially use artificial intelligence, machine learning, similar to the way hedge fund managers use it today, right? Typically, the small guys, like everyday traders, ordinary folks like you and me, we don't have access to that type of technology. We don't have access to that type of technology because it's too expensive, right? And I think it's exciting what AI Trader is doing and what you guys are doing partnering with Huobi, because it's kind of bringing it all together in one and giving that access to the little folks. The little folks, I call myself, right? So that we can better trade, so that we can more intelligently trade and use tools to actually help us be more profitable. So first, before getting into AI Trader, because I definitely want to spend some time on AI Trader, how it works, how to use it effectively to be profitable, right? I want to first jump into Huobi, understand what the exchange is, what you guys are trying to accomplish from a global standpoint, and then also from a regional standpoint, right? From the MENA area. What are you guys trying to accomplish? But first, if you want to maybe Shantu and Mohit, you want to give me a little background about Huobi, what you guys do, how it works, just for everybody out there.
Sure, would love to. Look, let's start with Huobi Global. Huobi was started by a gentleman called Mr. Leon Lee about 5 years ago, and Huobi is headquartered in Beijing, but we've got offices in a number of places. We have roughly just over 16 customers, 1,300, 1,400 staff globally, of which I think around 300 is technology, because technology staff is at the heart of everything that we do. We have around 160 tokens, digital assets listed on our site, 300, 350 different pairs. And I think on any given day, Huobi is in the top 3 from a volume perspective, traded volume perspective. So that's really Huobi Global. And I think the other thing important to say is, while of course at the heart of it is the digital asset exchange, what Huobi and Leon Lee are trying to do is really build and contribute to the entire blockchain ecosystem. So whether that's through Huobi Capital investing in various startups, through Huobi Research Institute, or Huobi Lab, and that's great, in terms of not just focusing on the exchange itself, which is core to everything we do, but actually harness and develop the whole system.
Okay.
We set up Huobi MENA. I co-founded it with another gentleman, Mr. Sultan Al-Ali. And it was really, I always say I'm an old learning new tricks. My background is payments for a lot, 25 years. And I was advising companies like OKCoin, that you may be familiar with, and also with Stellar, and got very enamored with, crypto and blockchains a couple of years ago, and then met with Leon Lee. And a lot of his values resonated with what I wanted to do, which was I saw an opportunity. I've operated in a regulated world my entire life, very familiar with regulators and banks and so on. And Leon had this vision, global vision, but also accepted that it can't be executed sitting in Beijing. And we needed to get a localized approach. And that's where we sort of met together and we said, look, let's bring Huobi into the Middle East, Africa, and South Asia, sort of Indian subcontinent, because those are really the key markets, the frontier markets where we're going to see a lot of adoption, and we're already seeing it. So we set up Huobi MENA. We've headquartered it in Dubai and Silicon Oasis. We already have 7 people on the ground. Shantanu, as he said, is leading that whole effort for us, and we're very excited, to be in that market.
No, that's great. Thank you for the background there, and I'm excited that what I understand is this is really your first appearance on announcing this, Huobi MENA and the partnership with AI traders. So I'm really excited to be part of that. One thing I'm really excited about, I just want to know your thoughts a little bit more on. You touched on it, is in the developing countries, right? Developing continents in Africa, in places that where banking is difficult for them to do banking, right? I actually just read an article literally the other day that said that Binance just onboarded 40,000 people in Uganda, right? And so I think the opportunity is enormous there. And that's something I wanted to at least get your perspective on, is what is the growth potential in that region, right? In the MENA region, whether that's Africa, Middle East, Can you give our viewers a little insight into that and how you think that will help propel the cryptocurrency markets upward, right? Because I think that's what a lot of people are interested in, is how are these exchanges getting people to be onboarded? How is that impacting prices? How can that impact my trading and so forth? So just from your perspective, what are the growth potentials in that region? Just curious.
Well, look, we think it's tremendous, right? Otherwise we wouldn't be sort of setting it out there and going after the opportunity. And I think for a number of reasons. One is, I think if you look at the regulatory framework and the various stakeholders that are going to drive it, there seems to be a much more of an openness to look at this. It's not sort of a closed door where, we're not going to regulate crypto. That's not saying that the Middle East or Africa has come up with great frameworks. There are countries that there are countries that are looking at it. But at least they have an open mind, and we're working very closely with a lot of these stakeholders. I think that's the first thing. I think even when you look at, as I said, my old world of payments and remittances, Africa, Middle East, these are massive money movement setters in terms of the migration and so on. And bringing that cost of remittance down, tokenizing it, using blockchain, this all fits in really well with what we're trying to do. And UAE has, time and time again, come up with initiatives where they want to be the blockchain capital of the Middle East, whether it's property records, whether it's music records, whether it's medical records now, big healthcare drive. So I think the region is seeing huge changes, and the pace of change is fascinating. While you and I are talking, there's probably a new initiative that's already come up. We don't even know about it. So, and that excites us, be at the center of that. And I think that was the key thing, was to be on the ground. And because you miss these opportunities if you're not on the ground. We certainly wouldn't have partnered with AI Trader, for example, if we were not on the ground. So that's a prime example of where it's already shown us it was the right thing to do.
Yeah, no, that's great. And actually, one thing I'm curious about is how, because I use a lot of exchanges, right? Myself, I do trading and whatnot. And so I'm exposed and use a lot of different exchanges and kind of look at the feature sets, the layouts, the UIs, whatnot. How does Huobi differentiate from some of the other major exchanges? And I've recently actually read a lot of good feedback about Huobi's exchange in general. And so I just want to hear from you guys what you pride yourselves on in terms of the exchange features or differentiators compared to like a Binance or a Coinbase or whatever exchange you want to call out. I think AI Trader is a differentiator for you. I think it could be a big move for you guys. But from your own words, like, how do you differentiate from some of the other exchanges out there?
Yeah, I mean, look, I've never sort of believed in pinpointing, our advantages over a specific competitor. I think that's sort of the wrong thing. But at a general level, other than AI, because I won't steal Santosh's thunder, he's going to take you through it. But,
Sure.
I think what I would frame it as is that we very much believe in a localized approach.
Okay.
So, if you look at just very simple things like building out an OTC network, building out a regulatory framework, having various currencies available on your exchange, being able to settle in those things. I mean, that is very different to if you're just operating an exchange with just the major currencies, for example, right? So giving people a ramp on, ramp off facility, participating, working with, I mean, this will be phased out, but for example, working with companies that want to list their tokens, that have a very much a focus in Middle East or Africa. There's no point them listing on an exchange that's focused in XYZ country, right? So the fact that we're local now, we can really bring that. So I would say just taking that global approach that Leon Lee has sort of been very successful at implementing, particularly in Asia and China, and then localizing it in this region is going to be our biggest strength. And I have no doubt the others will follow, which is good. We'd just like to be there earlier than them. So
no, that makes a lot of sense. That actually makes a lot of sense.
So, just add on to what Mohit said here. Think about also the fact, a lot of other exchanges are mainly offering, you can exchange from BTC, ETH, or USDT to other coins. But how about the fact when we are also able to give to our users OTC network, wherein we effectively create a marketplace for our users to buy and sell coins instantly, which seems to be still one of the biggest problems, to buy BTCs, ETH, or USDTs. And effectively, if you see, we keep the users on our platform because as soon as they get onto the OTC, they buy some cryptos, they can straight away trade with those coins.
Okay.
Also, the fact, most of the coins that you see on Huobi, they are very well researched coins. We do not want our users to be exposed to a lot of risk overall. So this may be something which could be interesting, and a lot of other exchanges, they may simply list down a lot of coins just to have huge tokens to their exchange.
Oh yeah, I mean
research.
Yeah, I can think of a few exchanges that do that. Sorry, go ahead, Santosh.
Sorry, actually, this is such a big issue when it comes to exchanges not carefully curating their selection of coins. When it comes to AI Trader, we have literally seen people go on AI Trader and pump and dump completely, coins with zero volume and zero potential. And this was one of those things that impressed us the most when we looked at Huobi and the network and how their approach was towards bringing new projects in and how carefully they were curating these. So that kind of brings in an added layer of security for our traders to sort of go out there and actually trade more with freedom and choose something which is out there, which has already been looked after by Huobi. So that was a big sort of a plus. Also, we feel that the technology that they have on the background is we are a technology-intense, sort of thirsty company. We are artificial intelligence. We need this technology from exchanges to integrate with us. And when you look at APIs and how our call rates were behaving, our tests suggested that Huobi was able to give us sort of the most optimal performance that we have ever seen. So what was coming out in general from our tests was that, we will now be able to bring in this AI power in a very stable manner to our traders, and that would have been a big differentiator. And we believe that it's a game changer for us, how this integration with Huobi is going to work.
Yeah, I agree. I think it is a game changer, and I can see the writing on the wall with this. And I think that will be a big differentiator, at least in the short term. It'll be a big differentiator for Huobi MENA, especially if people find that value in AI Trader and the integration with Huobi. I think that'll be powerful, right? Because again, it'll enable high frequency trading, it'll enable AI, it'll enable machine learning to be used by the ordinary individual on the ground, right? A day trader, a swing trader, whoever's using that. So let's actually jump in a little bit into the partnership. So I know recently you guys announced a partnership between AI Trader, between Huobi. I have read about it. I've read about your hybrid intelligence platform that you're launching. I'd love to get into first just the partnership. What does that partnership look like? Why do you guys do it? We've already touched on it a little bit, but if you want to dig into a little more of the details, that'd be great. But let's just talk about the partnership real quick.
I started the whole journey. It started somewhere in Beijing. I went to Singapore, contacting a few people, and then I eventually found out that there's actually a Huobi MENA team, which is now going to be based in Dubai. I was really excited that exchanges have a very sort of far eastern or a western approach at looking at things, but there was now an exchange which was saying that MENA is going to be a future growth opportunity for the exchange, and they're going to look at this region more carefully. And we were here. We were based in Dubai. So that sort of like really started the whole chain. That was the start of this journey.
What made things click though? Like when was the moment of like aha, like between both of you, honestly, because I'm sure you guys had to vet each other quite a bit. What was kind of that aha moment? And if you want to touch on it, I want to just give the viewers a little bit more context into why you chose Huobi. You have touched on it a little bit, but what's next? And what's like included in this partnership? Like what can people expect to see kind of coming out of this in the next quarter, next couple quarters coming out?
So on one front, it was really about the sheer technology power that Huobi was going to offer us, and the AI Trader is a platform which eases the way people live their lives trading. They need these tools to sort of help them ease this whole trading cycle. We don't know at what extent they are at with regards to all of the indicators, how they behave, how to basically choose and select a trade. But AI Trader simplifies this to a very great extent. And now with Huobi, with having the opportunity to give them a very wide selection of coins. We are not, AI Trader doesn't give you 10 coins to choose a trade. And Huobi gave us this opportunity to have a very versatile selection of coins to go out there and give it to our people. So those were the things that really sort of pushed us towards that.
I think also from our side, what Santosh just said was a really important point, which I would sort of frame as responsible trading. And that's what resonated in this whole partnership, because other than, of course, the teams and everything, there was a real relationship there. But I think the fact that it is the user that is setting the criteria, and can also set the criteria in terms of stop loss, but the coins, the strategies that they can choose in terms of how aggressive, long-term versus short-term. And so, yes, it's using AI and all the analytics and everything else, but it's still the user that's defining the framework.
Right.
And that's where we resonated really together, that yes, we want to bring these people on, but we also want to give them the tools where, what we don't want is an extreme disaster or something on our hands or on their hands, because that just doesn't help anybody in this industry. And I think that was really important for us, that was built into this great platform.
The main point, what we thought, as soon as we saw their systems, when we had our first meetings, we thought their systems are very simple. If you try to do trading on your own, if you're a beginner, you don't want to start trading with just by looking at charts, etc. But sometimes, you may look at the market signals. What is it? And they have made the system very simple. Sometimes, and the idea that we really liked about their team is they said we don't want too much of text. We want to put icons. So if there is a play icon, a pause icon, and a stop icon, that says it all. When you look at the signals, buy or sell signals, that makes it so easy. And this is what we thought. We are looking for something which is simple and easy for our customers to use. In fact, they were about to launch the hybrid model, what they have launched with us, with someone else. We said, hold on, guys. And this was the first meeting. It went so well. By the end of it, we said, okay, let's do this partnership. I asked him, did you sign any contracts with anyone? He said, no, we are using their APIs. We said, we'll sign our contract with you. Let's do something exclusive and let's do something big overall. And this is how the whole partnership started.
I really want to get into, and I know a lot of people will be really interested to understand, how does the artificial intelligence or AI/machine learning work? It's a framework that you can set up your strategies, your requirements, your objectives, your risk level and tolerance in that framework to execute the way you want. How does AI Trader approach that, and how does that differ from others? And why do you think you guys have a secret sauce? What makes AI Trader do what it does, right?
Our entire company is the name of our brand. We are AI Trader. Instead of you trading by yourself, now you're going to unleash the artificial intelligence system to trade. It's constantly learning. It's learning from its decisions. We have certain protocols in which it tries to limit losses, it tries to recover losses, and that's a whole complex system where a lot of these bots are basically being created. The good ones are kept, the bad ones are destroyed, and it's a cycle. And it's a cycle of millions and millions of bots all working towards one goal, which is to reach a profitable return. So how that particular bot then makes that decision is extremely impossible for anyone to pinpoint. But all we know is it works, and it works for a lot of our traders, and it works for us. It helped us mitigate a lot of our hodl losses as we were sort of holding as miners. And because it works, that is a system that we give to our users. We know that machine learning works, and in time, it will just become more and more evolved. With every trade, it's learning. The AI is sort of constantly evolving, and the evolution will not stop.
Now that's exciting. It's almost like it's an evolution of the system, the brain. So is it fair to say that as your platform grows, as more users start using the platform, it'll actually learn even more? It'll learn more intelligence.
It'll actually improve.
It'll get more. It'll get more sophisticated. It'll improve its algorithms. That's really exciting. I think it's exciting because I think you're in the infancy, you're in the early days of that. And if you onboard, as that ramp kind of goes up, the level of accuracy, I'm guessing, will go up significantly on your side, on the AI trader side. I think that's exciting. That means you can become a high frequency trader essentially by using this platform so that you can trade more often versus what somebody on their own can actually do and execute on their own, right? Just physically. So that's exciting. So in terms of the algorithm itself, and we don't need to get into all the specifics, but is it taking a number of different kind of general indicators like Bollinger Bands or stochastics or EMA or volume? Is it like taking all of those indicators and kind of trying to determine, like, how does the algorithm actually work?
I can't get into details in terms of exact percentages of how things work now, but a certain percentage is certainly allocated for indicators, and it has a lot of indicators in it. So imagine that you have to learn all of the indicators by yourself and sort of apply them on every single trade. That's essentially what it's trying to do.
That's
so it has learned them, and it applies what it believes is the right thing to do at that particular point in time. So there is, yes, a lot of backtest, and it is learning from what has happened in the past, not just on the platform, but in general in the market as such. And it's also sort of like basing its decision on what's going to happen next. We call it predictive analysis, where it's going to analyze based on all of this information that it has with its current traders, what's happening in the market. It's going to predict what's going to happen next, and that's sheerly based on machine learning.
No, that's really interesting, the predictive analysis. I do a lot of predictive analysis in the marketing space, and I've done it for a lot of Fortune 500 companies. And so you're using like a similar technology, but for a completely different outcome, which is awesome. And then I'm so excited to see where this platform goes, like where it actually goes, because I think the potential is really through the roof.